Are you after an airline job? Then we have a special preview for you. Can politicians be persuaded to support flying? We find out. And Arch or Bonhomme, the RedBull Air Race reaches its climax, but is it in the bag? But first, we have a mammoth show today, so if you're short on time, just scroll through to the bit you want to see and come back for more tomorrow, or just sit back and I'll take you through it all. Firstly, let's have a look at what's been happening in the past week. It seems a lot of pilots who want to fly the new breed of personal jet just aren't up to the job. The NBA Safety Committee thinks better guidelines are needed to help people make the jump from prop to VLJ. They're particularly concerned about instrument skills. The guidelines should be out by the end of the year, but in the meantime, if you want to get on with personal jet training, the manufacturers are developing or have developed their own schemes already. If the US elections are making you yawn, listen up because this might interest you. AOPA have been getting the views of the candidates on general aviation. As usual, there are a lot of words that could mean anything you want them to. But there are also some interesting answers from Obama on the environment and McCain on FAA funding and reorganisation. It's an interesting read and you'll find it here. If you fly a Cessna Citation in the US, then time at the garage should start to come down. The firm have just announced their new service centre in Mesa, Arizona will open in January. To quote the firm, their specially designed new building will allow them to move aircraft through at increased velocity. The current Long Beach site wasn't big enough. By the way, if you fly in Europe, Cessna have also approved a new service centre for Spain, which they will own themselves, and it should open its doors in 2010. Any guesses who are the biggest helicopter firm in India? Well, Bell seem to be doing rather well. They've just delivered their 100th aircraft in the form of a Bell 412. 100 may not sound much, but the firm now has 50% of the market. Now, you can wait years to get some things. 5 years for a Rolls-Royce, 2 years for a Birkin bag, and 2 years for Eclipse 500. No longer. Eclipse have 28 to sell, and fast. The aircraft were meant for Dayjet, but since the US air taxi operator collapsed in September, they don't need them anymore. You'll have to buy them in Dayjet corporate colours, but they are ready now. Have you ever really considered what you'd do if you had engine failure over the water? In a fixed-wing aircraft, you might try gliding to the shore, but in a helicopter, you're pretty much going down. Not any longer. Apical emergency floats have added the MD369 and the MD500 to the types they can now save with their emergency floats. As long as you remember to push the button below 5,500 feet, the bags inflate rapidly, allowing you to land on the water. In fact, the latest models are so good, you can even take off again. If you are one of the many Robinson pilots, they have a kit for you too on both the R22 and 44. It's not cheap at 30,000 US or 23,000 euros. It weighs at least 40 pounds in weight or 18 kilos and it'll slow you down. But if you cross water regularly, it might be worth the reassurance. Talking of getting close to the water, but deliberately so, Austria's Hanna Zarch goes into the weekend's last round of the RedBull Air Race in Perth in a comfortable lead. The only man who can really beat him is Brit Paul Bonhomme, but Bonhomme must win and Arch must score 0 points for there to be any chance. It's happened before. How are they feeling?
Yeah, last year was not ideal for me. The press release said I'd win the competition or the championship, but on the day Mike won it for some reason. The rules changed midweek, so that was a bit of a disappointment.
And he's gone faster again, fastest time we've seen all day. Hannes Arch is on track for the championship title and his second win of the season.
To go to Perth is pretty exciting because I'm so many points ahead. But on the other hand, it's a mind game because you're out there in the track. It's so easy to do a penalty or to hit the pylon. So if the same would happen to me, then what happened to Paul, it would screw up everything.
The weekend event gets underway on the 1st of November. Finally, before we go on to our special features, have we been visited by aliens? And more importantly, did we nearly blow them up? According to newly released British classified documents, a US fighter pilot was told to unleash 24 rockets at a mysterious object back in 1957. Just before he let rip on those alien aviators, the craft disappeared at a speed of 10,000 miles per hour. That's about 8,696 knots, if you're interested, although we're not sure if that's indicated or actual airspeed. Now, you might put this down to a pilot who was just a little tired, but here's the weird thing. The alien craft, which was meant to be the size of an aircraft carrier, showed up on radar. The truth is out there. A quick mention about our mailing list. If you want to know what's coming up, where we'll be, and more importantly, what the best website to watch fullflap.tv is on, just go to www.fullflap.tv and you can have a look on there. And if you want to get this show on your website, just go and have a look at our website and all the details are on there. Coming up, we look ahead to the Fly Professional Flight Training Show. But first, last week we put a politician in a plane with the aim of encouraging him that flying was fun. It didn't seem to be working so far.
We've set ourselves a challenge. Is it possible to make a politician like general aviation? Some said it was impossible. Could Damien be filled with the miracle of flight as we soar into the sky?
And the aircraft is accelerating. 55 knots and up she goes.
No, clearly not. As we rise into the sky, nature blows at us hard, making it one of the most turbulent days of the year. Our mission seems to be over and ending in defeat.
And now it's raining.
Perhaps a glimpse of home would help.
Got a good view of central London on your left-hand side there. There we are. Get the binoculars out. I see Ken waving.
I suppose it's a better way of getting round the M25 than actually being in a car.
By the way, if you see me put my hand up like this, it just means stop talking for a moment while I deal with the radio.
Splendid. People say that to politicians all the time. Maybe that should be a new way of dealing with us. I'm just going to put my hand up. Please stop talking.
Still, Andy is determined and he decides it's still worth pressing ahead with the lesson.
Right. On your little feet on there.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's right. You've got your hands on the yoke.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's it. Wonderful.
Now, what we're trying to do here is maintain 1,300 feet.
Yeah.
And we're also trying to fly in a straight line. The way we'll try that the other way, if the mast drifts off to the right-hand side, we're now heading over there. We need to roll the control aircraft towards it, centralise the control.
Yeah.
When the mast comes back on the nose, roll the wings level and centralise the control.
Gotcha.
Okay? So you have control. I have control. So now a little bit of back pressure. Turn the control column to the right. Roll the wings level and centralise the control. That's it. Very good. Notice how the nose is going up in the air now. So push forward. Yeah, that's right. Push forward.
Damien is flying.
Keep the horizon in the middle of the windscreen. Level the wing. Level the wing. Level the wing. That's right. Yeah. Okay.
So we set out to persuade a politician that flying was fun. Had we succeeded?
I've just been waxing lyrical about how how I thought it went. I'd be interested to know what you think.
Right. Well, you did very well, actually.
Honestly,
yeah,
I mean,
honestly.
Really?
Honestly, you did, because remember, this is an air experience flight.
Yeah.
We're not expecting high standards or great airmanship or anything like that.
Yeah.
What we need you to do is, the original aim was to control the aircraft in all three axes,
Yeah.
which is in pitch and roll and yaw.
Yeah.
And you did all three of those, and you did them very well.
Really?
Yeah.
Because at the end, do you think it was? See, at the beginning, I just felt you know, like you're overwhelmed by it. It's a bit like getting on a bike. But towards the end, I really began to feel, when we were doing a part of it, I actually began to feel I can really do this. I can
Success?
really instinctively.
People love getting in a sports car, but what they really want to do is to drive. Perhaps it's just the same in an aircraft. Perhaps the secret is to let them have a go themselves and let them discover too that incredible world where we gather.
It's actually well within the grasp of anybody.
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
We'd like to thank everyone who took part in that feature for being such great sports. Now, here at fullflap.tv, we're going to be at a wide variety of events over the coming year, everything from GA events like Aero Expo Europe to events like this.